I'm on my best behavior.
Podcast. Wampus, B. Randon, we are back. This is round 2, podcast number 2. We're running it back.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm the second guest, or the first guest to be on 2 times, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, I feel special.
You have to be special for that. This is the first time we're running it back, so it's going to be a little bit different compared to what we did the first time, because we've learnt about where you've come from, and now we're going to find out what's been happening in the last few months. It's been, I think, 9 months since we uploaded, probably like 10 months since we recorded, so a bit's changed in that time. So what's changed for you in the last 10 months?
Everything. Everything's changed. I've moved cities. No, it's not a whole lot has changed. I think the only major change that I've had is the type of work that I'm doing, and I guess we can hop right into it. Like, I'm no longer working with Joe, so that's changed. So Joe and I went different ways, so I'm no longer working with him, but I am still working with Zach, and then I'm still editing things here and there for a couple of other creators. But besides that, like, my day-to-day hasn't changed too much. That makes sense?
Well, I mean, you know, with any kind of business relationship, things end. Things end. Yeah, I said that right. But I'm guessing you learned a ton of stuff from working with, you know, not only just a different creator, but different personalities, like a different way that people work. And now you've got a whole lot of lessons that you can take into your next clients, or, you know, whoever you work with in the future.
Yeah, nah, definitely. I think since the last time we've talked, I've been exposed to working with a lot of different creators in Warzone, and I've worked with a couple people outside of the Warzone space now as well. Because I think when we had spoken last, I had just moved to where I was at, and I was only working with Zach and Joe.
Yep.
Right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So I've opened up to doing some commission work, but I'm not a huge fan of doing commission stuff often, normally because it's my experience with a lot of people who reach out to do commission stuff is it's generally pretty unprofessional. The people that I work with now, I enjoy working with. They're good people, but, you know, I have a lot of people that'll reach out asking for work, and then it'll either be like a lowball estimate, or like just the way people talk to you in your DMs. Like, if you were to say that, like, you know, if you went to work and and you were to say, so like, some of the things people ask me probably wouldn't go over super well. So that's been a new experience. But for the most part, I feel like the people who do reach out are nice enough. It's just like sometimes there's like a step missing here or there, and kind of like the, hey, are you available first? You know, instead of just like, yo, can you do this TikTok for me for like $20? Like, hi, nice to meet you. Maybe. What do you need?
Yeah, it's like, that's a weird, it's like a different, I've figured that out too a little bit, probably not as much to the extent that you have. Doing this podcast has sort of made me reach out to a lot of different people that I wouldn't normally talk to. And I've tried to be, obviously I've had experience in an office environment, in a professional environment, and it's kind of like you're trying to like introduce yourself, establish a connection, and then ask what you are asking,
right?
Rather than kind of being a bit more casual in the DMs, like, hey, what's up, go, and all that kind of thing. But I feel like there's a lot of people, or like a lot of people in the space who that's a bit more casual for them. It's like they've only grown up in this sort of DM online world, and they don't have the experience that, you know, someone like you and me have, of working at an actual job and having to write things or to present yourself a bit more professionally.
Yeah. And I don't think a lot of it comes with like ill intent, you know, when people talk to you, it's just kind of like, it's that whole loss in translation when you come to like just messaging in general. But like you said, it can be taken the wrong way or disrespectfully if you don't word things properly, or you just don't take the time to say like, hey, my name is this is what I'm looking for. Are you available for it? What would be your price? Because a lot of times what I'll get in my message requests is, can you do this for whatever? Or it's like, yo, I'm trying to grow, are you free?
Yeah.
Like that's when I get a lot. It's like, you know, I'm trying to take content serious, are you free? It's like, I mean, I could be. What are you looking for? Like, I would love to grow too. I would like, growth is amazing. Let's all grow together.
Yep.
But like like, how do you want to grow? Are you looking for short form content? What kind of short form content? Because there's like a difference between me editing a single clip and you doing like a quick voiceover with like 10 minutes of footage that I got to cut down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I remember talking to you a little bit about it offline, and it's still like, there's just kind of like a lack of professionalism that I bump into in this space. I don't know if that's like something that you still run into when you're just trying to like work with people or like do anything online.
For me personally, I've been pretty lucky. Pretty much everyone that has come on the podcast has been someone who's responded in a similar sort of way, in that, like, all right, let's establish this is what I'm looking for. And it's sort of a bit more, I don't want to say professional, but it's a bit more, you can tell who's been established in a different area, rather than just, I feel like in the space, maybe it's a lot of people just shopping around in a way, and they try and they mass DM a couple of people looking for one thing like in their mind, and it's sort of just like straight to the point. Whereas a lot of people that I've dealt with haven't been that way, and they sort of understand, hey, let's talk about what we both want out of this, and then we'll talk about the terms or go from there, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I think it kind of comes with the territory. Especially being like, it's weird to say, I just turned 30. So like, I feel like once you turn 30, at least in this scene, you're like old.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
You might as well be deceased. Like,
yep.
Once you hit 30, they're like, oh, Brandon, time to go out back.
Wait,
like,
how are you online?
I feel like this is prime.
How are you online at 30 years old? Do you know how to use a computer? How do you know how to DM back? Wow.
Well, I was there when it was invented, so.
But no, like for you, especially when you're trying to, I mean, you've got a lot more time now compared to what you did when you were working with Joe and Z, and that was your established workload. And now that you have sort of had your options open to look at other people and listen to people, what they want, you know that the kind of the paid work, like pay for one job kind of thing, you can get the money, that's fine, but it's kind of a bit rocky or unstable for you personally, where this is your main squeeze now, this is your job. So there's a bit of I'm imagining that you kind of want to find something that can be like established long term, just for a bit of stability.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, because stability, I think, is the hardest thing to find in, at least, I don't have a lot of experience outside of the Warzone space as well, but you know, in terms of Call of Duty and Warzone right now, stability is extremely hard to find. I mean, the time I'm recording this, the season 3 update just went live, which I feel like might be like the notorious season 3 update, with how people reacted to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the goal is to establish long-term work, but one of the lessons that I've learned so far now, I'm trying to think of how long I've been doing this full time, because I've been editing now for, I feel like close to 4 years, but maybe full time in between 2 and 3.
Yep.
One of the things that I've learned is to stop forcing myself to like care about content more than the person that's making it. That makes sense. Like for a while with some people, I would go out of my way to ask like, hey, can we do this? Or like, what do you think about going in this direction? Or this would be like a really good thing to go, or I can make this for you, or I could do these things for you. And then I would go out of my way to do those things, and then I would like never hear back or never get response, or, you know, like if I stopped messaging, then I wouldn't get anything back. So it's tough because like I don't blame a lot of creators for being that way either, because when you're creating Warzone content, like you have to decide how worth it is it for me to pay somebody to do that. And then you go back to like the whole pay thing, because say they only make a couple, if their YouTube channel is monetized, maybe most of the people that like will reach out to me, their channels are on the verge of being monetized, or they're not quite monetized. So there's no income on their YouTube channel. So that money's either coming from like their personal funds or for their stream funds. And so you kind of got to weigh like, do I pay this guy to do it? Because I'm not going to be making money for months or years. Or do I do it myself? Or and so what ends up happening a lot is the like lower rates just come in for videos.
Yep.
And it's like, it's a trap that a lot of editors get put into, including myself, where like you can only charge up to a certain amount.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to get work, like if you want to stay busy, because the people who really need help, who don't already have like a team around them, like they can't afford to pay like, I don't know, like $200 for a YouTube video. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's like you as an, and I'm sorry, I think I keep cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
You as an editor have to decide if you wanted to go for like a long-term relationship, do you believe in this person and their content? Because essentially like the hope is, I'm going to devote my time to this person. I'm going to like try to grow with them. And then when they get to a certain size, there's payout. Like we made it, okay, there's the stability. Like we can work together. We finally reached some stability, but it's hard, man. It's tough. It's cutthroat.
It is.
For sure.
It would be cutthroat, especially because you're almost competing with like an unlimited amount of people, because people can edit their own stuff obviously for free, but once you try and find someone who can edit, or people who have started editing and want to start editing for other people, and it's kind of like, oh, I can get paid for this. Something is better than nothing. So I'm just, this guy's offering $100, I'll offer 90, just to lowball, and everyone keeps undercutting each other rather than trying to find their value, what they're really valued in the space. But it must be hard starting out for a lot of editors, especially if that's something they want to chase. But I think probably one of the benefits of the ending the working relationship with Joe is that you've had a lot more time to start doing your thing and start growing your own channel, which is something we spoke about in the first podcast, where you were kind of struggling with finding the time and finding maybe even a little bit of motivation to chase your own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had, it's kind of like, it's a balance. Like the time management thing, time management in general is something I really struggle with. And I feel like I've gotten better each year, but it's still something that I'm working hard to improve on. But yeah, I have had more time to put into my own content, and I'm at that stage where I'm trying to figure out like the voice that I'd like to have when it comes to doing that. Because I think for the most people that would like stumble upon or discover things I would put out, it would be people looking for help editing, like tutorials, which is probably the most straightforward route and one of the directions I'll lean into. But like the stage that I'm at currently is I would consider myself no longer a novice when it comes to editing, but I am by no means an expert. Like I'm not even close, because like a lot of people that are putting out tutorials are either industry professionals or they went to school and then they've been doing it. They've been working for like 6 years out of school. And so they're really good at what they do, and they have the whys behind everything. That's not something I have necessarily right now. Like if I were to make a cut or insert like an audio effect, for me, a lot of times somebody's like, why'd you do that? I'm like, well, I don't know. It looks good. I guess it sounds good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it felt right. So like, how do you communicate? Like, yeah, it felt right. So that's something I'm working on. I'm working on upping my vocabulary and my definitions, I guess. But yeah, I'm trying, man. I've been putting out, the thing that's been easiest for me right now is like short form stuff. Just like if I have an idea for a quick tip, pop it out. And a few of them have done pretty well on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So that's been encouraging. But I'm hoping by the time this comes out, I'll have finished like the one YouTube video that I've been working on for a while. That'll be my first stab at like, I think, real YouTube content, because I've done like a couple of vlogs and like a couple of like editing breakdowns, but it's been a video I've been working on for a little bit. So hopefully it's out by the time this comes out. If not, man, like somebody's got to get me in order, man, because it's been like weeks I've been trying to get this thing done.
Yeah, I mean, no pressure, but this is going to be edited pretty quickly, so you better get on it. No, but your YouTube channel, I've got it pulled up right now. It's really explode. I want to say, explode. It's exploded the last few months because you have been uploading content and helpful tips and things like that. So, I mean, a couple of shorts have popped off. You've got like over 300k on one, over 200k on another one, and they're helpful tips. But it's not that you're just like, hey, this is how you do this edit, or this is how you cut this and do this. You've got your own personality in there. There's a lot of humor. There's a lot of, it's your own spin on taking an edit and making it. And I find that's probably something that is very, very unique and entertaining, because even if I'm not going to be personally using any of these edits, it's fun to watch the short because it's entertaining.
You don't mean that.
No, I do. It is a really, really fun way to come across editing tips.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. I'm trying, man. That's like, the thing is with me too, is a lot of times I cut stuff out just because I feel like you probably do the same stuff with your own content. Like in my head, I'll think of something really funny and I'm like, man, this is going to kill. And then I play it back and I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is so bad. So I'm glad you enjoy it, even if you're just saying it for the podcast. But yeah, we're trying, man. We're trying to figure it out.
How have you found? I mean, you've obviously been uploading some long form content, like you said. There's some vlogs. There's some. It's more. There's a lot of you being shown off in here on the projects that you're working on, and like I said, I think it's been like 5 or 6 months that you've been uploading consistently. How have you found the growth out of YouTube in particular?
Well, luckily for me, starting to post stuff on my own channel, I've been working with creators for years at this point. So I I wouldn't say, like I've said, I'm not an expert, and I don't have the best. You need to do X, Y, and Z, but I kind of know now what doesn't work and what does work. What things you should do, what things you shouldn't do. So that's really helped, especially with like titles and stuff and thumbnails. There's like small things when it comes to, it's like what colors you choose to use for your thumbnails that could make like a big difference, or like how you position things, how you size stuff, or like with your titles. Just like one thing that I've learned since like content management and editing is before you record and edit a video, you should kind of have an idea of what the title of the video should be. And if you want it to be something that's like searched or something that's recommended, because there's kind of like there's a different approach to how you title a video, or how you present a thumbnail. So that's helped for me. I guess with the growth that I've seen, most of the time, I think the reason why some of those videos do well is it's people telling me I'm dumb. Like it's real editors going in there and like, you moron. I'm like, I know, but share with a friend. Like, yeah. Well, have you thought about? Like, I have, but this is how I do it. I know it's bad. This is how it gets done. So,
but that's a unique thing about editing. Like there is different ways to get different things done in your videos. So there's not just one way of doing things. One way might be the most efficient. One way might be the most productively aesthetic looking way of doing things, but it's open to interpretation at least. And there's also a lot of different software. I mean, shout out DaVinci, but there's also, other software that people use. Some people just edit on their phones, and there's different things that maybe people don't know about that you can share with them, which is good.
No, it is good. Well, you started editing your own stuff, like your own short form. How has that experience been for you?
I like the shorts. I like the TikToks. I like doing the short form content. You can knock out a short form video very, very quickly when you have what you want to show. You're like, all right. And I've kind of really picked up on cutting out a lot of dead space, like in shorts. You got to keep the flow like fast. The worst part is definitely captioning. That is the most that could make something that might take you like half an hour to an hour to do. It turns into like a 3-hour job. Like it's terrible. But shout out to you also giving me some helpful tips with Adobe and learning how to use the auto caption thing. Can really cut out the time, and give it some personality with the captions. But I enjoy it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I feel like editing can be really, really time consuming when you're not time consuming. It can be really monotonous when you're not working on videos that like you connect with, or you feel like you can't get creative with. So that's really good. But yeah, captioning will kill you. I wish DaVinci Resolve had some kind of auto caption thing, because I basically pay the monthly Adobe subscription just to use the captioning feature, which is wild.
Yeah, I mean it's so helpful, but like, yeah, if DaVinci can get that in their program for free, in their free software, that's that would be a big step.
I feel like there's some online services for captioning subtitles, but they all have like a crazy rate for how much you can upload, or like, you upload 10 minutes worth of audio and you got to pay like $10, which is crazy.
Yeah. I feel like there's some AI stuff that is getting a lot better at doing that as well. Some free online tools, but at the same time, there might be just a little bit of quality missing out of that you're looking for in your own edits. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can use TikTok itself as an application, and it will auto generate captions, but it won't look the same as the ones that you can make through your editing software, which is kind of a bummer, but also it will set apart creators. And when you watch something, you can tell who's put in that just a tiny bit more, I don't want to say effort, but a tiny bit more like editing into their edits.
Yeah. It's funny too. It's funny you say that because like at this point I know which captions are made where.
Yeah.
And like if I see a Premiere caption, I'm like, bah,
Yeah, he's paid.
that's auto caption. Yeah. I know that one. But yeah, it does make a difference. I feel like you don't have to do it. Like captioning with like cool poppy effects and stuff isn't something you have to have. But if it's like, if you open with 5 seconds or like the first 2 seconds or like some kind of cool animation, yeah, it's like a trigger in your brain that's like, oh, like, okay, this is like an actual video that I should watch. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. But I mean, like you can get almost sucked into watching something that you might not normally watch just because of the presentation. How did you find something like that for yourself where like, oh, this is the look that I want to go for. This is grabbing. This is the kind of thing that I want to do. Have you like seen things? Because a lot of the stuff that I've think is like attractive in a short form video is something that I've taken from other people. Like there's nothing that I've originally created that no one else is doing this, or like imagine something, this look is exactly what I want to do. I've kind of seen bits and pieces from other people and just pulled it all together to make it whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of doing it. To be honest, I think one thing else that I've learned over like the couple of years is that's helped with like my presentation is knowing my limitations when it comes to captioning and just graphic design in general. Because I think a trap that some people fall in is getting too ambitious with some of that stuff, and then it ends up looking really cheesy. Like it doesn't look good. So I'll tend to do what you're saying, and like if I'm browsing and I need inspiration, or like I don't have a clear idea of what I want to go with, yeah, I'll look to like some people that I really enjoy watching, and then you can see how they present their information and go, wow, that's really clean. Like I like that. And then you can try to implement it in your own style. I will say for anybody who's watching this that's like getting into trying to do like kinetic typography or like their own text work, just keep it black and white. Like just black and white is probably the easiest thing to do and still look good. Like white text, black shadow, or white text, black border. Perfect. That's all you really need.
There is colors do matter, and there is a lot of education that goes into color design when it comes to graphics. And like we work with a graphic artist at my work for making patterns and things like that. So there's a lot of colors which just will never work together as like a rule. And it's hard to know what those are unless you've experienced it or learnt about it. So there's like, you know, red and blue are something that you don't mix together in like, you would make that as a caption text, like blue text with a red outline. Like
that would be tough.
That would be tough, and it's hard to read, and there's just like some rules and things like that. But there is a lot of resources out there that you can kind of learn about what professional graphic artists know. But like a lot of it does come down to trial and error, and usually the more basic it is, looks cleaner and can look much better than, like you said, you put in too much thinking or too much, I'm going to use green, red, blue, and all these different things. But every once in a while is a highlight.
Light rays coming off. And...
Yeah. Especially it depends on what it's on too. Like you can get a color text that just over the top of another color just doesn't stand out, doesn't pop, and you can do a lot of cool things if you have the right color grading.
Yeah. Said colors matter. Is that what you said? That's a bar.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to
colors matter.
Trademark that. That's
That'll
mine.
Be the title of the video.
Yeah.
Colors matter.
What's something else that you feel like you've learned over the last few months specifically that you kind of like, because you've been full time for like over a year or something now. What's something that you've learnt while you've been full time?
In terms of editing, or like outside of editing, content wise, or both, or
both.
Both.
Whatever comes off your mind.
As far as like editing goes, I think one of the bigger takeaways that I have had is to, I guess, learn some more of the basics. And it makes a really big difference in video quality. One of the mistakes I made when I was first starting out was, well, I don't know if it was a mistake, because I think I learned what worked and what didn't work, but I just tried really hard for, like, I don't know, look, appearance, all that kind of stuff. But I missed out on things that make videos engaging that you don't pick up until you go back and learn some of those things. So like one of them that I've been really focusing hard on is sound design. Like how you design the audio for your videos can honestly make or break a video. And it really helps with viewer retention and emphasizing points. And it's stuff that you don't see, but it's stuff that you feel when you're watching a video. Like if there's some kind of buildup or there's like a silence that you choose to use. So like that's been something that I've learned a lot more about, like sound effects and audio levels and mixing, which isn't, I don't know, it's not very sexy, but it's been really useful for me. As far as like content creation goes, I think the only thing that I would like continually recommend is figuring out how to fit everything in. I think there's a general misconception when it comes to editing and the stuff behind the scenes and like the amount of time it takes to do stuff. So for people who are getting into editing their own stuff, I would focus on figuring out what you can do with your time and managing your time in that way. Specifically when it comes to like editing a video, if you only had 2 hours a couple nights a week to edit a video, I would focus more on like what the idea behind the video is than what the actual edit is in itself. And then as far as like the edit goes, I don't think a lot of times you need to do too much with like a lot of those videos. Like you can get really creative and flashy with text and effects and all that stuff, but I would focus more on the pace of the video and like just avoid doing bad things like audio clipping or like weird cuts or like hanging frames or stuff like that. But besides that, I don't know if I have I don't know if I have a lot of other like super valuable lessons other than it's just hard. It's really hard. It's now that I'm doing more with either myself or people that aren't as known as like Joe was, it's hard. Because there's so many people trying to make it. There's like so many people trying to make it in this scene. So the things that I've worked on are just like spending my time smartly and just trying to figure out things that people can't compete with. So like for instance, for Z, one of the things that like I can control with his videos is effort level, because I have a lot more time than he does when it comes to making videos. The thing that like I control is how much time I can put into telling a story for him. And that comes down to like scripting and planning things out and using my experience to figure out music and that sort of thing. So I I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I guess that's something I've learned is like put in time and effort.
Well, there's a few things that stood out to me, which I'll run by you. But the first thing that came to my mind was I know this has sort of come up in our conversations over the last few months, but also there's a way that you can put too much time into an edit, where sometimes you can get caught up in the details, and the details do matter sometimes, but a lot of the time, just putting something out there is better than overthinking and over editing something and spending too much time on it, because the sort of return on the time that you put in is not worth it.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that was either last week or a few days ago we were talking about that, because it is really true. And that's, you as an individual have to decide, what's my cutoff point? Like what is the point where if I were to put another hour or two into this, my return on time investment is negligible? It's really hard to figure out, because like most of us have limited time to work on stuff. And if you put in those extra hours or hour or two, like maybe you do get 5% back, but maybe that like 2 extra hours you stayed up late that night made you useless the next day. And now like the other time that you were going to put into your content is meaningless.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is something that I think everybody kind of has to figure out on their own, or like how much time can I put into this, and what time do I need to put into this? Like what is the minimum amount of time I need to put into something like this? Is that something that you've been kind of learning yourself, or you have some experience with?
I mean, I think the more you do things, that does become something that is more apparent. Like I think especially when you're starting out, I think the number one tip that I've heard from a lot of people to give someone who's starting out is just put it out, whatever it is, just put it out. Obviously try and put some effort into it and make it your own, and make it something you're proud of, but don't overthink it, because that extra couple of hours that you're spending on this video could be the extra couple of hours, could be the first couple of hours you put into the next video. So rather than overdoing one and try and make one perfect video, make 3 or 4 that are good. And the more you do, the more experience you get out of it, and you learn a lot more the more you put out there. So I think is it like Harris Heller, or a lot of people just say the first 100 videos are going to suck, but the 101st video, you will be okay, and you'll do something with it. So that's something that I've learned from hearing from people and from my own experience, is that you can overdo things and overthink it, and sometimes it's better to just post it, even if you know it's not perfect, just so you can move on to the next one and get the momentum going. Because I've been a victim of this too. You try and over edit something, you put out one video, and then you kind of either burn yourself out, or you don't have any ideas or inspiration to do the next one, and it becomes like months or weeks before you do something else.
Yep. And then the longer it goes on, the more you think about like, dude, I haven't posted in 2 weeks. Like, what's the point even of posting now? Like, it's not going to get caught in any algorithm. Yeah. It's like a weird mental hurdle you kind of got to get over, to like, all right, like I'm just going to let it rip, and we'll see how it does. You feel like that comes from like a place of comparison, like comparing yourself to like other content out there, or do you think it's like I know I can do better kind of a thing?
I think it depends on the person, because a lot of people are perfectionists and they sort of want to do something and do it right. But there's also, I feel like it comes down to what you're trying to get out of it and what position you're in. So I feel like, especially maybe the people we talk to are the people who don't do this as their living and are doing this as a hobby. And so it becomes, and I know this applies to me, it's like, this is my hobby. This is something I do for fun. I don't make any money out of it. How much time do I put into it before it becomes like it feels like a chore and there's no enjoyment in it? So sometimes you can get caught up in doing something for a long time and you're doing it out of love or passion or fun. And sometimes the more you put into it, it becomes less fun. Like the return you get is the enjoyment, and you get less return the more you put into something. Sometimes you can burn yourself out.
Yeah, it's a weird balance because like if you don't put in a little more time here and there, you also like never grow.
That's it.
You never learn. So you can, like, if you don't put in enough time, you never learn and you never grow. But if you put in too much time to like one thing, then you never grow either, because like nobody ever sees you, because you're just behind a computer like sweating trying to figure out like one video. You know what I mean?
It's a hard balance that I think a lot of people struggle with at the start when they're establishing themselves,
especially when there's like no initial return on investment. Like most people aren't going to see any payout for months or years. So it's hard, I think, for a lot of people as well, because they'll see one or two people that put in a few months or a year and then they made it, with maybe doing the exact same thing. Like maybe all they did was stream like 6 hours every couple of days or something like that, and then they grew. So yeah, it can be discouraging, but that's why I was like, I wonder if it comes from a place of comparison and like thinking about what other people are doing and less focusing on like, what can I do, what value do I bring, kind of a thing.
I think you do compare yourself. I think even unintentionally sometimes, like you don't obviously compare yourself out of jealousy sometimes, but it's also like, hey, that person's been streamed for 3 months, they've already made Twitch partner. Or like this person uploads a couple of videos and all of a sudden they've got 6,000 subscribers. I've been putting out videos every week and they're only getting like 20 views per video. It's kind of like, what am I doing wrong? And why is this guy doing better than me? But not because you don't want that other person to be successful. You just want to know for yourself. And yeah.
But I think that's good when you start asking those questions. At least that's what's helped. I don't know. It's hard for me to talk from like a place of success because I don't think I've reached a place of success, but I think those are important questions to ask if you're really trying to grow and if you're not trying to make it a hobby.
Yeah.
Like, why are they doing better? And why am I doing worse? Because you could find answers that will help you do better.
Yeah. And it's also, you kind of want to figure out yourself what you want to get out of it. Like, do you want to grow? Is growing important? Sometimes it's not important. And it's something you have to come to terms with, that like, if I keep doing this, I'm not going to grow, but I'll have more fun. Is the fun the part that you want to get out of it, or is the numbers something you want to get out of it? And there's nothing wrong with either.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a clear answer to, or like a direct answer to success in this space. There's always things that you can do. This is one thing I feel like I say a lot to people, is just there's always something you can do to like help your chances. There's always something. And if you take a small step into doing one of those things each time, like eventually when you look back 6 months ago, like it's going to be a monumental difference in like where you started. It's like fitness, you know, like if you just start exercising a couple days a week and you build that habit, eventually like you're going to look back in the mirror and like really appreciate the little things that you put in to like get yourself there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels with that, because you'll suck at the start if you're starting from nowhere, which is like anything. You're going to suck, right? But you put in more time and you kind of think about, hey, this is the skill I want to achieve. This is the exercise that I want to put my time into, and you'll get better at it just by doing it more. And sometimes it'll be, I want to hit this number, or sometimes it'll be, I just want to do it because this is fun. And you become more proficient at it, and you'll improve even if you don't even notice.
Yeah. What would be something you would tell somebody wanting to start in this scene, either streaming or content? And from your experience, if they wanted to grow and they're working a full-time job, or they're in school, you know, and they've got other stuff going on, what would be something like you would tell them to focus on or avoid?
I think watching this podcast, there's a lot of tools.
That is the key.
That is the key.
That is the key.
Just watch all the podcast episodes.
You haven't smashed that subscribe button.
Exactly. No, honestly, there is an element of truth to that. I feel like I've spoken to a wide variety of people, and I've sort of taken in a lot of experience from speaking to other people and their experiences. But personally, I work full time. I have no time for anything, but sometimes you make time.
And you have a family too.
And a family too. Obviously, they're important. But
I mean, they're
kind of important.
They're around.
But yeah, I think probably the number one thing that will come up eventually for somebody who's doing this and starting out will be setting a goal and realizing what you want out of it. Like, I started everything out of, this is fun, I'm going to try it. And eventually there comes a point where it's like, what else is there? Is there something else I want out of this that I'm not admitting to myself? And what are the steps to put in to make it something? And it might be that you want to make it something more than what you thought initially, or it might be that, hey, you know what? This is just something I want to do every now and again, and that's fine too. But it's also, you got to realize that before you maybe start seeing all these videos about this is how you grow, you got to grow, this is what you do. You don't have to do that. And it's okay not to do that. And it's okay to only have 2-3 average viewers on your stream, or like no views on your videos. If you're okay with that, you need to come to terms with it and make peace with that decision. I think making peace with your decision is probably the number one hurdle that most people will face.
So yeah, kind of like, if you can't expect a massive change in following when you're not doing the things to put yourself there, kind of a thing.
So your expectations have to match what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like that is something that comes with maturity and experience, and like, just like a little humility as well.
Yeah. And look, for you personally as well, what do you think is something that is important for somebody starting out in the space?
I would say focus on a platform.
Okay.
Like, pick something that you would like to grow on and attack it. Like, most of the people that we talk with are streamers. So a lot of times people wonder why they don't grow on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, or I don't know, OnlyFans. I don't know, wherever you're trying to see success, but they don't gear their content towards those sites. And the result is, like, if your stream grows, then yeah, maybe those other platforms grow, but if you don't put in time to a specific media form, then you will probably never see that growth. So like if I wanted to grow my Twitch stream, and I was like really wanted to boom and like grow on Twitch or Kick or YouTube or whatever, you should be present on that website consistently. Not like 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day. You don't got to do that, but there should be times where you're there, and when you're streaming, it's a good stream. Like it's like anything. I mean, you show up when you go live and you stream, do that. And then when you're off stream, do some things to help promote your stream. Think of stuff you can do on stream, or like highlights from the stream that you can post here and there. But doing that is not going to grow your YouTube page. The only way your YouTube channel would grow is if your stream grows and people are curious like what your highlights are from the stream. So if I were to grow like a YouTube channel, I would think of stories that I could tell, something valuable that I could provide a user, and then cater my videos towards that. Like plan out a video. Stop taking your stream highlights and converting them to YouTube videos. Make content for YouTube and talk to your YouTube audience. And it's like the same with TikTok. Like you can see success on TikTok or any short form content by just taking a highlight from something. But the people who do really well on TikTok are making videos for TikTok. You know what I mean? So most of us have limited resources. Pick one and grow on it. And it's okay if your following isn't as big on the ones that that you're not putting a lot of time into. But it's like you said, you got to have that understanding of like, okay, like if I grow here, cool, but I can't expect success on Instagram because I don't post there. So like, why would I expect this to be massive?
Yeah. And I think, like you just said there, a lot of the platforms are different. And what works on one platform isn't always going to work the same on another platform. Like if you take that TikTok upload and take it to Instagram, it might not do the same numbers as what it does on TikTok, because the people who maybe scroll on Instagram are a different demographic or are looking for something different than the people on TikTok, which I think is important to realize as well. But like the one point you said there about, and it's been something that I've heard in a few of the podcasts previously, and I'm thinking of CPREDs right now. Approach it as a content creator that makes content, not as like a streamer, and then turn that stream into content. Like you have an idea for a video, you can stream at the same time, but if you're approaching your stream with this video mind in your mind, this video idea in your mind, this is the gun I'm going to use. This is the type of personality I'm going to be in this video. This is the type of thing I'm looking for. Like this is the comms I want to give. I want to put on this voice, and that's how you stream. You're creating a stream out of that, and then you're also hopefully getting enough content to make a video for YouTube out of it. So you can attack it in a different way. But I think there might be something that maybe the Warzone bubble of people, like us included, have kind of become kind of complacent with, was say you have to drop a 20 or 30 and that's a YouTube video in itself. Like you just upload a high core game to YouTube and you've streamed it, that's perfect, that's double. But I think Warzone's kind of become established in itself, and there's a bit of a realization now that it's not just, hey, here's a loadout, this is my video. Hey, this is 30 kills, this is my video. There has to be something more to it now. I think it's been saturated enough.
Yeah, it's very saturated at this stage. And the success of those kind of videos is highly dependent on the success of the game. Because if like people are really into the game, then they're gonna look for like a lot of different gameplays that they can just watch regularly, because it's fun to watch. Like it's fun to watch people do well. But when the game's not doing well, there has to be something provided in the video, like either some kind of narrative, some kind of moment, something that would actually somebody would want to click on the video. It can't just be like I don't know, just like you're saying, like another gameplay, because like if you if you titled your video another 20 bomb,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want to click on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the loadouts. Hey, this gun's the new meta. This is the new SMG. It's kind of, you can do that, and I'm sure you'll do okay. But there's also, I feel like it's really just been done, and there's something else you need to add, like you said, and that's something that I've noticed in your evolution as an editor as well. Is that you've kind of been leaning more. I'm going to speak to Exact's videos in particular. There's become more of a storyline to the videos rather than, hey, here's another 50 bomb kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Zach is kind enough to I like let me take a chance with that kind of content. But it's something I feel has been proven to do well on YouTube.
Yep.
When I look at creators across the YouTube landscape outside of Warzone, most of them post, and I'm talking about everybody, not just gaming. Like, think of any YouTube channel that is bigger in size. Most of them post content maybe once a week, maybe 2 times a week, maybe a couple times a month. But there's normally something behind the video that makes you want to watch it all the way through. So what we're trying right now is to bring some of that element into Warzone. Somebody who had a lot of success with that was Dreamstrike. He's an incredible creator. He told really gripping stories that were also useful. You know, he kind of told his story as he played the game out and shared his experience with what worked well and what didn't work well. And I think if he enjoyed Warzone, he would probably still be doing it, but I think he stopped playing the game. So yeah, it's something I feel strongly about, but it's a risk. You put in a lot of time into those kind of videos, and there's not a guaranteed path to success with something like that. But we've seen a little bit of success. We've done the Way to Warzone videos. Both of those did really well, and those weren't like super gamey related. It was more Zach's story. We posted a tutorial video that had a narrative behind it that did really well as well. But we've also posted some that we put a lot of time in that bombed. Were big old stinkers. But they're videos I'm proud of. Like, I feel like, I hope that's what's important, is like when I publish, I'm like, that was a good video. Yeah. The thought is, I feel like this was a Mr. Beast thing. The thought is, like, hopefully when somebody sees Zach's video in their feed, they know it's a good video. Like, they know, oh, like Zach posted, like, cool, this will be a good video to watch. And we avoid that, like it's another whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the thought. We'll see if it pans out. But it's been a good learning experience. Videos take a lot of time to do.
Yeah. I was going to say that the amount of effort and level that's put into the last like few months of videos has been insane. And I watch it with that kind of almost someone who has had some experience in editing. And I've got that eye like, oh my God, look at all the stuff that he's just added into like a 10-second.
How many layers are in there?
How many layers? The colors, the slow down the effects, even the narration and some of the audio stuff that you do in it. It's like, just for like that 10 seconds must have taken such a long time. I don't even want to think about how long it would take me to do it. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it was a good time to start doing it because Zach has an established community. And there's a lot of people who will watch that because they want to see a different side of him. And so you were kind of guaranteed to get the community to watch something different, which isn't just a strictly gameplay-based video. And it's something that I feel like it's is it the term evergreen? It's going to be on there forever, and it's not just another gameplay. So even when the game dies, there's an element of storytelling and commentary to it that if you're not really going to watch Warzone, but you want to watch a story, it's still a good video to watch, especially the Way to Warzone one.
Yeah. That is the hope, and the thought is eventually we get to a place where the videos don't have to be watched within the first week of posting them. And that's something else that I realized with like a few of the people that I enjoy watching is sometimes I'll just go on their channel, scroll down, and like pick a video to watch from like their channel. It's because I'm not like, I don't consume as much YouTube content as I used to when I was younger. So it's hard for me to be like constantly watching whatever's new or what's next. And I got to give like a big shout out to Z for like being involved with that process. I like, since his return, he's been really involved with like helping create those stories and that content. And I feel like he is getting a lot more out of it now, because it's something like you have a sense of ownership when you put something out there. You know, it's not just like, like we'll just throw it up there and hope for the best. It's like, it's something that he's put his time into. So you want to see it succeed, and like you're putting more effort into like, okay, if we post it at 11:30 or 11:45, is it gonna matter? So yeah, it's I'm hoping down the road it pays off. Like we put in the time now to see really big returns later. And I think with Warzone ranked coming into Warzone, for like my people who don't watch or play Warzone anymore, Warzone 2 VR Battle Royale type game, they're introducing a ranked mode, and it's going to be probably very competitive. And along with it, there's the World Series of Warzone, which is going to have over $1 million worth of prize pool money, which is insane. So there's going to be a lot of buzz and hype around Warzone. So like, I hope what you're saying is right, because we can continue to tell Zach's story as he competes and provide insight into games that somebody would find valuable at any time.
Yeah. And it's sort of something that you would be doing with Zach now. If something was to happen and the game had to change, it's something you can carry over. Like you don't have to learn. I mean, obviously have to learn a new game, but storytelling applies to everything, any game, anything that you're making a video on. If you guys are familiar on how to make a story, it's almost like you're doing the first 100 videos. They might not do well, but like the 101st, you're putting in this pattern of changing and like putting an evolution on the content you're putting out, that if the game was to change, you could keep up a story.
Yeah. I think that's what's really important, and something we talk about a lot is having people connect with him more than the game, because Warzone does have a limited life expectancy, and it's not going to end this year, but 4 years down the road, who knows? Like, who knows where Warzone's going to be at? But if we can create things that bring people to the channel just for the channel,
yep,
instead of the game that's being played, then I think we'll have long-term success. So that's the goal.
That's the goal.
I hope it works, man. I hope it works. There's no guarantees. There's never a guarantee. But I believe in Zach. I believe in the content that he is doing. I believe in his community as well. He's got like the best community that like I've ever been a part of. So I believe.
That's the thing.
I believe. I
was about to say the same thing. I believe too, because you can see the amount of people who will comment or just come into his streams and chat and be like, I don't even play Warzone anymore. I don't watch Warzone gameplays, but I've been loving your videos. And the amount of, as a mod, I can see the first time chatters that come in and say, I've been watching your YouTube. I'm loving the videos. I think it's just like a great indicator of something is being done right.
I hope so. I hope it's not like the inverse. You know how you only see comments from like pissed off people?
Yeah.
The only people that want to comment. Like there's a lot of people who are pissed off but don't care to comment, and we're just seeing like the small amount of nice comments and nice feedback. Yeah, I hope it pays off, man. We'll see. But either way, like you said, like there are skills and things that we're both learning as we go along that can be carried further. So we'll see where it goes.
No, we'll see. And like I said, as a fan, I hope it continues, man, because you're doing a really, really good job.
No, I appreciate it. We're trying.
All right, well, B, I think this has been a pretty good chat. A lot of different things that we've spoken about, but man, it was great to touch base a few months after the first one. I'm looking forward to the next one already. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Next week, round 3.
All right, appreciate you, B.
Thank you for having me.